Hello everyone. Today, I'd like to have a brief discussion and analysis of Sara and the wonders that is her Kia staff. I'm just as eager to learn as the rest of you, so feel free to comment and yada 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 about the stuff we talk about today. Because Sara is going to be one of these things that changes the meta quite handily, because this Kia staff is just that powerful. Being able to apply attack and speed plus 6 to the lowest HP unit and neutralize any penalty is fascinating. It allows your unit to cleanse and guarantee pretty much that attack and 6 unless the enemy is using low, and or any other, I guess, bonus negating stuff, but generally low. And in most cases, you would find the enemy attackers, they are not using that. They much rather use something that can either guarantee them a follow-up or something to negate a special, like guard, or being able to counter a healer's dazzling staff. Because of this, I've been thinking about plus 10ing Sara. However, plus 10ing Sara is, well, it might not be a good decision, because having 2 Sara is actually an incredibly dangerous strategy. Let me explain why. So, the Kia staff doesn't apply to yourself. So, if Sara is all by herself, she won't be able to cleanse herself. But if there's 2 Saras, she can. Because this thing only affects the unit themselves and not prejudiced against Sara. So, if you have 2 Kia staffs on the field and 2 Saras, you can still cleanse each other at the start of your turn. Of course, at the start of enemy turn, the debuffs are back on again, but that's not important. What is that on your turn, you launch a fierce attack with your plus 6 attack and plus 6 speed and rip the enemy in half on the defense. Now, I've been thinking about countermeasures on the matter, and I've been thinking about how to best make a team around this. So I went and tested this with a couple other healers that, incidentally, has 40 HP. Also, my Lin also has 40 HP. It's pretty amusing the way things have built up themselves. So if I were to run a team like this, let me move back though. Oh, I can enter in here. If I were to run a team like this, pretty much the entire team can be cleansed, because Sara has a ridiculous range of 4 and can cover pretty much the entire field. I mean, just look at her right now. Her attack range is the range that she can cover with her Kia staff. Now, you may be wondering why Priscilla didn't get the buff. And that is because Priscilla did not have a penalty applied on her at the start of the turn from the Panic Manor, because Panic Manor only covered these guys. But as you see, if you have 40 HP across the board, you can make sure, at the very least, your defense team doesn't get bothered by penalties. And if they don't get penalties at all from the enemy team, then the entire team gets the attack 6 buff and they can rip people to shreds. So that I have been thinking about building for some time, because, as you see, this is very deadly. And I've been researching some methods into creating a team that can destroy enemy attack teams violently. But the problem I find is that, well, Sara is not very firm. So if she were to run into something like someone with no counter, she'll die. Because all you need is, well, even a plus 2 and 2 flowers. A total of 56 attack to take out. That's really easy. So that is a problem I've been trying to address by plus 10ing her. Because, you know, at the time when I summoned her, I got a lot of her. And then one thing led to another. I have 11 copies. But then when I came to actually test the character, as you see, I can cover the entire team like this. So I might need an extra copy. I've been thinking about that. But is that truly the right path? See, if I were to make a setup like this, I need to make sure that I have a bonus unit. I want to make sure that I have dancers that can actually support this team, because if you don't have a dancer, you might as well just run the calf line itself. So it's been on my mind lately as to how to run this defense team. It's been... I didn't really have much time last week, so I had to just run a test team. And my test team at the time uses... what's it called? Skill called Odd Recovery. And if I were to use Odd Recovery with Kia staff, I could probably make an entire team that doesn't get affected by isolation or panic or something stupid like that. Still, as a result of this testing, I can't help but feel that I need to build up a team with 40 or something similar HP across the board. Now, incidentally, I discovered that the evil that is Christmas Bernadetta actually has the HP that could match them. I may have made a bit of a mistake on merging and giving her flowers, because now she has 41 HP, so she can't exactly work with those units. But then again, it might not even matter, because all she needs to do is be on the field and use her technique and be done with it. If she herself receives penalties, it's not an issue. All you need to make sure she does is deliver that -1, and you're done. Odd Recovery, as I came to realize, is very stupid, because it breaks the whole setup altogether, since I need to make sure that my units have less than 100% in order for Return Plus or Rescue Plus to work. So this is why I might run 2 Saras on my team. But then I run out of spaces to run a dancer or some kind of nonsense like that. It's a little infuriating, because I can't decide on what to do. And that's been something that's just... Like, I need to build Sara herself into a attacker. And having dazzling staff is great, but if I run into someone who can, say, negate follow-up or negate dazzling, I'm in trouble, because I can only make 1 hit, or I just get torn to shreds, because she has a combined bulk of like 51 or 50 something, I saw earlier, 56 or something like that. Yeah, so that's not a lot. That's something that'll get you killed, and that is why I ran Flame in my previous defense with Legendary Alm, so that Legendary Alm can do his stuff, rip people to shreds, and not get killed on a counterattack. I have this guy who says that my defense setup is bad because, I run Flame, or I run Legendary Alm, blah, 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 blah. Let me tell you something. Legendary Alm is incredibly violent. His attack, as you know, has Moonbow built in, or most of a Moonbow built in. You combine that with Deadeye, you can kill a lot of things. There are not many things who can survive an attack like that with a reduced defense and then an enhanced attack, the likes of a mini Astra. You can kill a lot of things. So I don't know where they're getting at about that being bad, because that, not even my bike can tank that. My Supreme Ultimate God King bike cannot tank that technique. It is disgusting. My offense actually loses to my defense, and I can't really solve that problem. That's how disgusting this setup is. So I have been very eager to figure out a way to deploy Sara to her max potential. So right now, my problem is, do I want to have 2 Saras? Maybe I should just +9 this. Or maybe I should just summon even more. Get a +10 and have some extra Saras laying around with reposition. That could lead to some good things. But I'm still not sure. Still, I need to get her to +10. Because if I get her to +10 with no follow-up, maybe then I can ignore the whole thing with Flame altogether. Because if you were to have plus 10, you have 4 HP and you have 4 defense, that's 8 extra bulk. That should be enough to do what she needs to do with no follow-up. So I'm thinking about giving her no follow-up and dish out tons of damage on her own. But another problem that Sara faces is that she's a 2-range infantry unit. And being infantry means that, well, if I were to get in front, I need to be repositioned in front in order to reach the majority of the enemy defense teams that are hiding in the back. And as it turns out, well, Sara's the only one who has to return plus, so having 2 Sara might mean that I can perform that technique a little bit better, because then the other one could toss the main one out in the front and have her do the evil. But once again, I'm not too sure, because I might think about using a return plus on something like Nana, for example, and not have to worry about extra movement, because you would need to position yourself like this in order to do a toss. The dancer themselves will have to be positioned behind Sara so that they can reach into other places. One of the most important defense unit I've been meaning to summon is certainly that Sigurd, because he's the only 3-range dancer that doesn't have any stupid requirements like, oh, you gotta be next to beast units only, otherwise you get stuck and you don't have 3 movement space. That 3 movement space is a huge deal. I've been talking about that all the time, so I kind of regret that I didn't spend orbs on that one. I should have thought about that, because not only is Dual Sigurd has that 3 space, but I can also build the nonsense that is dual hindrance on the team, so that, say, some piece of shit decides that he's going to use Christmas Altina and use advantage, they can't, because it get disabled. But you need a dual unit in order to do this. So I've been teetering about that, or the New Year's Peony and more. That is why I could not make my team last week, and that is why I'm still not sure if I can make the defense this week, and why I end up having to talk about this now, and revealing my hand a little bit, shall we say, of what I'm going to do with similar HP units to do the evil. Especially, as you can see, these guys, I mean, their attack and speed isn't, like, so very bad. If you can boost it up with 6, that's pretty sizable, especially since if you were to run a couple mythic units. I just need to find a way to make the space for it. That's why I need a 7th unit that can do this. The 7th unit will be very handy for me. I'm gonna likely have to summon on a mythic banner with one such unit that can go in the 7th slot. Otherwise, it's not gonna work out for me. So this January summoning is quite important for me. If it's a dark with a speed bonus, that would be best, because some of them are not that fast. But if I have a speed bonus on top of the attack speed plus 6, that's should be enough for me to overwhelm most units that I face. But yeah, I tend to ramble on. I'm still not entirely sure. I might have to think over this for over the weekend and think about what to do with this technique. And meanwhile, I'm thinking about maybe just implementing some other clever ways to use this technique without, well, the aforementioned stuff that I just talked about. It is regrettable, because I really regret I didn't summon on those things. Those things would be so helpful in my defense. It's not even funny. It's just I just can't stop beating myself over it. I should have been a little more liberal with my orb spending. And I think that is why I'm gonna have to summon for Sara again in a little bit, maybe. Or just like maybe 1 or 2 extra ones to do some tossing around, and still a plus 10 Sara to work with. Because Sara is very, very strong. I don't know. What do you guys think? Let me know. But otherwise, what else can I talk about with this? I mean, there's really not much I can say at the moment until I actually built up my team and put into use. I might also use this as an opportunity to run something like, say for example, Elliewood. See, look here. Nana has 44 and 46. 46. I just need to give Nana some, I don't know, attack and speed +2 on her A slot, and then she'll be fine. Then she can do the evil, and everything will be just fine. Or just anything with just +2 attack will be enough for Legendary Elliewood to give out his bonus doubler, making these guys into even more horrible monsters. But again, these are just some theories that I have in mind. I don't know if it'll work. And, well, if you're as eager to learn as I am, please let us have a discussion on the matter. Alright, well, that's about it. I thank you all for listening on this. Until next time.